Today we are talking all things spelling, and unfortunately we are not going to be playing Wheel of Fortune with our spelling today, but instead I have some strategies for you. I know, I heard your audible groan when I said we were working on spelling today, but it is so important that we help our students become strong spellers. And it is so hard to help our students become strong spellers. But worry not, we have some tried and true strategies for you today to help your spellers. And we have an amazing resource to share. All right, let's get started. Rule number one when it comes to spelling, no matter what system, program, curriculum, made-up word list you are using right now, it's so important that you are making sure your spellers are learning rules and patterns. A lot of times the spelling curriculums that we are using and have been using for a really long time will use random word lists or really focus on pulling words directly out of read alouds. I know a lot of inclusive reading curriculums will do that, where the spelling words are keywords from the read alouds you're focusing on, but in actuality, those aren't the words we want to practice spelling. Those are words we want to use as vocabulary words. It's so important for our spellers that we are introducing them consistently to rules and patterns of spelling. I don't know about you, but English is impossible if you ask me. There are so many rules, and on top of that, there are so many exceptions to the rules. So it's really important that our spellers are exposed to both of those, the rules and the exceptions. So first things first, make sure you're focusing on rules and patterns with your spellers. The next thing to think about while planning for spelling with your students is consistency. Your students need to be practicing in similar ways all week long. They need to know when that spelling test is going to be, and to save yourself some time, you need to have similar structures in all of your lessons, whether spelling is an everyday instructional piece for you or just a few times a week. When you have that consistency built into your schedule, it makes it so much easier, not only for you, but for your students. They know what to expect. That consistency also extends into the activities your students are doing with their spelling words throughout the week. When you have those consistent activities, it saves you so much instructional time because you're not having to reteach how to do this game, how to do this task with your spelling words. Students recognize the tasks when they're really consistent. They are then able to jump right in. So make sure that there's a great schedule to what you're working with, and make sure that there's consistency in your practice tasks and your instruction. One of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to spelling instruction is differentiation. Not only do I love this because I think it is so important for our spellers, but I love it because it explicitly goes against so many spelling lists that are currently floating around out there. Our spellers have different needs, and I love spelling because so many students can excel in spelling who maybe struggle in other places, and students who are maybe your best mathematicians can't spell a word right to save their lives. I think it's really cool that spelling is truly its own isolated skill, but because it's an isolated skill, that means our students have really different needs. That's why I think it's so important that your students are working with differentiated spelling lists. I know Timothy needs a completely different list than Tyrone does, and that's okay. I don't personally think that one set spelling list is going to meet the needs of every single student in your classroom. And it's okay if your students are working with different spelling lists to meet their spelling needs. I don't think anyone's going to be mad about differentiation. In fact, I think everyone loves to see differentiation, especially in an area that has not been differentiated for students in the past. So consider evaluating your students' needs as spellers and then making decisions about those word lists from there. Also, don't forget that you can differentiate your spelling activities to meet students' needs. There's nothing that says every single kiddo has to do the exact same task every night for spelling homework. Why not let them choose? It's going to be meeting their needs as spellers, and it's differentiated based on where they're at. Last but not least, you need to make sure that there is an assessment piece within your spelling planning. Maybe you assess once a week, maybe you assess every 2 weeks, but you need to be assessing, and then you really need to be using that assessment tool to guide your future spelling work with your students. All right, we've talked about all of these pieces that would make great spelling instruction in your classroom. We know there has to be consistency. We know there has to be explicit planning for these things to be happening in your classroom. And you know I'm not gonna leave you empty-handed. I am so excited to introduce our 3rd grade spelling curriculum. This is brand new from Not So Wimpy Teacher. It is everything you need, and it covers everything we've talked about in our video today. This is a growing bundle of a resource. The first thing we talked about today were rules and patterns, and the 3rd grade spelling curriculum is built on that. No more random word lists, no more random words pulled out of readings. This is designed to introduce your spellers to the rules and the patterns that make up the English language. So the foundational piece is one all of your spellers are going to need, and this has it right there for you. In this resource, it also includes that key element of consistency. When the resource is complete and fully bundled together, you're going to end up with 32 weeks of spelling instruction. And I love each week is set up the same. There's a PowerPoint mini lesson, there's an anchor chart, student notebook activities, the same kind of practice tasks each week that deliver that consistency for your students. We also have some tips and tricks included for scheduling to help you figure out how to make this system work really well in your classroom for your spellers. We also talked about the importance of differentiation, and this has it built in. Each week includes 4 different spelling lists, but get this is my favorite part. Each list still supports the same spelling skill. So all of your students will be working towards that same rule or the same pattern, but each word list is a little different to meet your spellers' needs. That differentiation is built into every single week in this resource. It also includes a fantastic spelling inventory, brings in that assessment piece, which we talked about. The spelling inventory is the perfect tool to assess your students. I love to use the spelling inventory at the beginning of the year, and then I want to use it at the end of the year, so I can really see how far my spellers have come comparing using the same assessment tool. This also includes some great practice tasks for the week and even a homework task for the week, along with a parent letter, so you can get that practice happening at home in a great structured way, and families know exactly what spelling pattern their learner is working on that week. This really is a fantastic resource, and it's kind of everything you need for really solid spelling instruction. So whether you're taking these tips and revamping the system you have to use in your classroom, or you are scrambling to get on our wait list or grab the resource when it is available, I hope that this will really change what spelling looks like in your classroom. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you are ready to TEACH your SPELLERS and get them working hard with those patterns and rules for spelling. There are task cards, there are games, there are partner activities. It's all there for you, and I'm excited to use it. I hope you are too. As always, thank you guys so much for joining us. I want to hear from you down in the comments. Maybe you have a favorite spelling practice task you do right now with your students, or maybe you're just excited for the 3rd grade spelling curriculum. Let us know down in the comments. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we hope you have a not so wimpy day. Bye!